Hi, everyone. This is Terry Folks for the Executive Director of the Missouri After School Network. And I wanted to do a quick recording just to touch base about the additional verification documentation process that is being launched today. Hopefully this will answer some of your questions, but if it does not, I invite you to reach out to Alicia Piero, and her email address is included in the documentation that you'll be getting, or Jason Patry or myself to be able to help you through this process. So all grantees, SAC and 21st Century, are going through the additional verification documentation process as a way of documenting some of the additional items that are needed either for quality improvement and or external evaluation, depending on which type of grantee you are. All grantees, 21st and SAC, are working toward quality after school programming. And although our rubrics have set up to look at surveys and observations and other ways of measuring quality, there are just some things that need to be reviewed. And so this process is a way of sending in those documentations so that they can be reviewed and included in the materials related to quality improvement and external evaluation. So for those of you who have not gone through this process yet, the information is actually on the rubrics that are on the DESE portal. They're posted there and you can download them. And they go into detail about what's expected at that satisfactory level, which aligns with grant requirements and kind of basic expectations of grantees. We have the opportunity to verify more information to document that your grantee is performing at more than satisfactory or an advanced level. It is not necessary to document those higher levels. You are hopefully performing at satisfactory, and documenting satisfactory is acceptable. The rubrics build in the opportunity to document at higher levels in case there's an area where maybe at this point, especially early on in a grant, you may be performing at not yet satisfactory. On the rubric, we call that less than satisfactory. It's possible to document something at more than satisfactory to kind of equal that out. But across the board, it is perfectly fine to choose to document at satisfactory level. And so the verification documents that Alicia has put together outline what it is at each of those levels that you would turn in. There are 3 ways that you can turn in this information. We have Alicia's put together a Qualtrics survey this year, which isn't really a survey, it's more of an upload opportunity. So if you want to get your materials ready and just upload, like, okay, I'm uploading my schedule, I'm uploading my family engagement, I'm uploading each of those, you can do that, and her directions explain that. You can also email those PDFs to her, or if you need to submit paper, our address is listed there. And then Alicia's contact information is here also. She's probably the best person to go to for the documentation. She's the one that does that review of each and can help with what something, what your attachment might look like, or like when we get into the coding of the lesson plans, questions around that. Okay, so flow and choice summary. This is just to walk through like what we're asking. So we're asking that item 2.3F looks at age groups and the flow and the choices that they have. So we made up the summary form, which is the page after this. that you can fill out to help explain to us how your groups are made when youth have choices within their weekly schedule or daily schedule. And we know there's some programs out there that don't offer that weekly choice, that once a quarter kids sign up for different activities. So if your program doesn't do those choices, there's a place to answer that question about how they still may choose what their enrichment activity is on maybe a quarterly basis. So for this one, we ask you to answer those questions and then to provide a copy of the weekly and or daily schedule. The next item is the weekly schedule, and that's reviewed and used in 2.3D and 2.3E. And so you can have your cover sheet and then stick your weekly schedule right behind it. For a satisfactory, we're looking at there's at least 2 broader array activities offered each week, and that there's at least 2 activities per day, not counting snacks and meals, so that the students are just not sitting in the same single activity all day. There's not a lot of variety on that. Now, this one I'll talk about the more than satisfactory. So a more than satisfactory would be at least 1 more broad array activity, so at least 3 choices that are activities offered, and then advanced before with 3 activities per day besides snacks and meals. So you don't necessarily need to worry about counting those up. We'll do that for you. But if you can attach your weekly schedule, and then we have these codes here. We can look at the name of an activity and guess what it would be, if it would be an academic support activity or if it would be a broad array of activity. But we're asking that perhaps you would like to code those for us. So this one was one of the more complicated ones. A lot of schedules aren't this full because there's oftentimes like there's a rotation to it. But as you can see, like this was marked as academic support math. We wouldn't have known that triple play was academic support math, but you know that. And so positive action is a broad array, social and emotional. So if you'd like to code your schedule for us before you upload it, that would be fantastic. If you don't, we'll go off of the names the best we can and reach out to you if there's questions and knowing what level to mark that as. So another one where you print off all of these, put that cover sheet, and then put your copy with it and then upload it. The next section is documentation of state standards and lesson plans. So at the satisfactory level, we're going for lesson plans are created in advance. And more than satisfactory and advanced would have additional items and looking at whether the items are aligned with the standards, like if they're coded with the standards. At the satisfactory level, we're looking for having lesson plans for one, and for if you're a program that does not code to the standards on the lesson plans, for meeting the satisfactory, you could actually show your activity plan from your grant and then have noted which standards those are meeting. So if it's meeting math computation, or if it's meeting reading, English language arts, ELA, phonetic awareness. So you could use your activity plan instead. But if you do already use your lesson plans and have noted the state standards, all you need to do is send that in. This one is a 21st century only one. We do have a couple that are not applicable for SAC programs. And the written plan of coordination and academic support is a 21st century requirement to show that there has been intentional planning between the after-school program and the school day administration on how academic support will be coordinated between the program and the school day. So that would have cover sheet and then have that plan behind it, and it can be uploaded or emailed or mailed in. And the requirements for a satisfactory plan, more than satisfactory, we're looking, is there some type of agreement? So either a signature or confirmation of email back and forth on agreement of the plan. And then at the advanced level, you've got your plan, it's been agreed upon by both parties. And then if you'd like to send in some documentation showing that the plan has been implemented, that would qualify for that advanced level. Now, remember, satisfactory is fine, especially in a COVID year. We're not looking to stress you out over this. Satisfactory is fine. You're meeting the requirements. It's just if you're already doing something more than satisfactory, and it's easy to send in, then let's acknowledge that. And or if there's something where in the same category, you know that you don't meet the requirements of satisfactory, these more than satisfactory advances are an opportunity to kind of equal that out. So again, more satisfactory is fine, especially this year. So then we've got academic strategies based on individual student needs. And this one is, again, a 21st century only, so it's not applicable to the SACs. And within this one, you would include your description of who it was for and what was done. So there's actually a form that you can fill out to just describe what it was that you did. So what was the activity, who it was for, how it met their needs. If you're going for a higher level, like on the advanced on this one, which again, satisfactory is good. Like, is there any data or what was the results of that activity? And so those are optional questions for the advanced. Let's see, so you would do your cover sheet and then your form. And if you are going for advanced, then put in your additional data. Social emotional learning activities or a summary form. So most likely your social emotional activities are lesson planned already. So if you send in 2 SEL specific lesson plans, that meets the satisfactory. I think the highest level of advanced is 4 SEL activities. But if you don't lesson plan and document your SEL that way, maybe you do something different. I don't know why you probably wouldn't if you're using lesson plans in your program, but you could fill out the summary form that comes afterwards. So this is optional form. Most likely you're gonna, I think last year, everyone turned in SEL lesson plans instead of this form. But if for some reason you don't have things written down in a lesson plan form, you could fill out this form to describe what it is that you're doing related to SEL. And then the next section is on family engagement. And so there's actually 2 parts to family engagement. The family and child enrichment is for both SAC and 21st century. So you can use the form to describe what type of event you had. It was much of a virtual year. So it may have been a virtual parent engagement opportunity, might have been in person, but please describe out what type of family and child academic enrichment you had. I believe for satisfactory, that we're looking for at least 1. If you know that this is one where maybe you, 21st Century has also the family educational activity, the expectation to do one of those, and say 21st Century only at the top, but that's like a learning activity for the parents. So helping them with English as a second language, connecting them, maybe like a budgeting type learning event for them. If you know that you maybe didn't have one of these, so that would be a less than satisfactory, but you did have 2 social family and child activities, this would be a good one to go ahead and do the more than satisfactory, because we know that it was particularly hard on the family engagement one, being in a virtual environment this year. So please just do your best. Everything that I probably should have said this earlier, everything so far except family engagement has been at the site level. So if you have an elementary, a middle, and a high school, you do an elementary schedule, you do a middle school schedule, and you do a high school schedule. Family engagement activities of both kinds, the educational development and the social enrichment activity, those are at the grant level, so they can be cross-site. So you just need to turn in those once for all of your sites. Excuse me. And I think that that's the end of what gets turned in. We did have some grantees bring up that they use copyrighted curriculum. This might be especially in the SEL area if you're using like Second Steps or something like that. If you're uncomfortable copying the lesson plan from a third-party vendor, you can fill out this form instead. We are just using it for verification purposes, so I think that that's kind of your call, whether you're comfortable in copying it for this purpose. But there is a form available if you're uncomfortable in copying it. So hopefully that helps to show kind of the forms. We're not going into all the rubric details on this little quick video, but if you'd like to talk about those more, you can reach out to your ARE or to Jason, Alicia, or myself, and we'd be happy to do that. So thank you very much for watching.